Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much for joining today to continue our reading of this beautiful scripture, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So let's start. So till verse 72 was covered yesterday by Narayani Mataji, and we'll just read the 72nd verse translation, and then we read today's verse, that is 73 on. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. So this beautiful section is going on where the devotees are asking Lord Chaitanya about what are the symptoms of a devotee, of a Vaishnava, and the Lord gives many beautiful symptoms, many beautiful indications through which we can know Vaishnavas. And in the 72nd verse, he says that a person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is to be considered a first-class Vaishnav, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. Okay, so this was verse number 72, and we'll continue with today's verse, that is verse number 73. So, remembering Narayani Mataji's beautiful instruction that reading the shlokas and translation is also a form of seva. So please kindly raise your hands, whoever wants to read the verses and translations today. Uma Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Please start. 16.73.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Vashantere punadhara aiche prasanna kaila. Mataji, I forgot. Vashantere
punatandra aiche prashna.
Vashantere punadhara aiche prashna kaila. Vaishnavera thara thamya prabhu shikaila. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. The following year, the inhabitants of Kuligrama again asked the Lord the same question. Hearing this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again taught them about the different types of Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So they again, every year they would come and they would ask the Lord the same question, and the Lord would give the descriptions. And so now we'll see what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responds. So this is verse number 74. Very important verse, and the purport also is very, very beautiful. So let's read that. Would someone like to read? Sindhu Mata.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Sutaji. 16.74. Yan Hara Darshane Mukhe Aise Krishna Nama Tan Hare Janiha Tupi Vaishnava Pradhana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, a first-class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So,
purport should be read. Mataji,
Mataji, you can just read the first paragraph. It's a lengthy purport, so we'll read para by para, discuss and go on. And we can take turns reading the purport also. So you can read the first para, then Shobha Mataji can read.
Sure. Purport. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that if an observer immediately remembers the holy name of Krishna upon seeing a Vaishnava, that Vaishnava should be considered a Mahabhagavata, a first-class devotee. Such a Vaishnava is always aware of his Krishna-conscious duty and is enlightened in self-realization. He is always in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and this love is without adulteration. Because of this love, he is always awake to transcendental realization. Because he knows that Krishna consciousness is the basis of knowledge and action, he sees everything as being connected with Krishna. Such a person is able to chant the holy name of Krishna perfectly. Such a Mahabhagavata, Vaishnava, has the transcendental eyes to see who is sleeping under the spell of Maya, and he engages himself in awakening sleeping conditioned beings by spreading the knowledge of Krishna consciousness. He opens eyes that are closed by the forgetfulness of Krishna. Thus, the living entity is liberated from the dullness of material energy and is engaged fully in the service of the Lord. The Madhyama Adhikari Vaishnava can awaken others to Krishna consciousness and engage them in duties whereby they can advance. It's therefore said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 6, verse 279. Loka he yavat sparshi he manahi kare, tavat sparshamani keha chini te na pare. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Should I continue?
Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One cannot understand the value of touchstone until it turns iron into gold. One should judge my action, not by promises. A Mahabhagavata can turn a living entity from abominable material life to the Lord's service. This is the test of a Mahabhagavata. Although preaching is not meant for a Mahabhagavata can descend to the platform of Madhyama Bhagavata just to convert others to Vaishnavism. Actually, a Mahabhagavata is fit to spread Krishna consciousness, but he does not distinguish where Krishna consciousness should be spread from where it should not. He thinks that everyone is competent to accept Krishna consciousness if the chance is provided. A neophyte and an intermediate devotee should always be eager to hear the Maghabhagavata and serve him in every respect. The neophyte and intermediate devotees can gradually rise to the platform of Uttama Adhikari and become first class devotees. Symptoms of the first class devotees are given in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.45. Sarvabhuteshu yah kashyet Bhagavata bhavan atmanah bhutani bhagavati atmani yesha bhagavato uttamaha. The most advanced devotee sees everything, within everything, the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. When teaching Sanatana Goswami, the Lord
Mataji, we can
further
go
said,
to another devotee. Padmaja Mataji, you want to continue?
Hare
Thank
Krishna, Dandavat. Thank you.
thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all the souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. When teaching Sanatana Goswami, the Lord further said, Shastra Yukte Sunipuna Drada Shraddhayana Uttamadhikari Seta Taraye Samsara. One who is expert in the Vedic literature and has full faith in the Supreme Lord is an Uttamadhikari, a first-class Vaishnava, a topmost Vaishnava who can deliver the whole world and turn everyone to Krishna consciousness. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22.65, with great love and affection. The Mahabhagavata observes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, devotional service and the devotee. He observes nothing beyond Krishna, Krishna consciousness and Krishna's devotees. The Mahabhagavata knows that everyone is engaged in the Lord's service in different ways. He therefore descends to the middle platform to elevate everyone to the Krishna conscious position. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
So much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So this is a very important purport. There are many wonderful things that are mentioned about a first class devotee. So as you all know, there is a Kanishta Adhikari, and then the Madhyam Adhikari, and then the Uttam Adhikari. So here we are reading about the, how to know who is one and Uttam Adhikari. And this position is, the most elevated position of a devotee. And those symptoms of an Uttam Adhikari are given here. Now, this Uttam Adhikari, they are filled with so much love for Krishna that they can show sympathy even to the most degraded souls and deliver them, just like Srila Prabhupada did. And they are so compassionate that they are not worried about what kind of inconveniences that come to them. Just like Prabhupada, he was so comfortable in Vrindavan, he was staying in Radha Damodar. He could have just spent his retirement age there comfortably, but they are not satisfied with their comfort. They are pained to see the suffering of others. So they take all kinds of discomfort so that they are able to bring others to the platform of Krishna consciousness. So, if we are reading the purport, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that if an observer immediately remembers the holy name of Krishna upon seeing a Vaishnav, that Vaishnav should be considered a Mahabhagavat, a first class devotee. So, the first class devotee, their whole life is completely dedicated to the service of Krishna. So, when anyone, even a person who may not be a very good devotee themselves, but when they see such a person, because that person's life is full of Krishna consciousness, this other person is also reminded of Krishna. This other person is also inspired to chant the name of Krishna. And so, such a person, such a Vaishnava is considered a Mahabhagavata, first class devotee. And they are always aware of their Krishna conscious duty. It's not like, hot and cold for them, that okay, some days they are Krishna conscious, other days they are not. No, they are always in love with Krishna so much, and their love is without any adulteration. There is no other motivation. Ahetuki ya pratihata. It's unadulterated, it's uninterrupted. That is the love they have. And because of their love, they're always awake in transcendental realization. And they are able to see that who is sleeping in the spell of Maya. And then they engage, in awakening such sleeping souls. Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. They are engaged in awakening the souls who are sleeping in the lap of Maya. And they spread the knowledge of Krishna consciousness and open the eyes of those who have forgotten Krishna. So then here it is mentioned that living entities are sleeping in the dullness of material energy. So the Uttam Adhikari, the first class devotee, he engages such souls in Krishna's service, and they awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness. Okay, and help people advance. Then this reference of Chaitanya Charitamrita is given, that one cannot understand the value of touchstone until it turns iron into gold. So one should judge by action, not by promises. So seeing a touchstone, one may not be able to understand how great it is, but when it turns iron into gold, that's when its greatness is realized. So we should know, not go by just the appearance or just by the promises, but by the action, what the devotee actually does. And a Mahabhagavat can turn a living entity from abominable material life to the Lord's service. A life that is full of selfishness, and just personal sense enjoyment. A Mahabhagavat can turn such a life towards Krishna's service. And it is mentioned that this is the test of a Mahabhagavat. Then Prabhupada continues that although preaching is not meant for a Mahabhagavat can descend to the platform of Madhya Bhagavat just to convert others to Vaishnavism. Now, this is mentioned because for a Mahabhagavat, they see Krishna everywhere. They see that everyone is a devotee. They don't see anything separate from Krishna. So then how will they preach? So that is why they need to they themselves come to the level of Mahabhagavat, so that they are able to know that who are the people who are in ignorance, and then they can be brought to Vaishnavism. So that is why that is mentioned. And here again, it is mentioned that a Mahabhagavat is fit to spread Krishna consciousness. But he does not distinguish where Krishna consciousness should be spread and from where it should not. He thinks that everyone is competent to accept Krishna consciousness if the chance is provided. See, because their eyes are anointed with so much love for Krishna, that they feel that, everyone can become a devotee. Everyone is the servant of Krishna. Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in everyone's heart. Everything can be used in Krishna's service. That is how their consciousness is. So that is why, they come down to the Madhyam Bhagavat level, so that they are able to see where Krishna consciousness needs to be spread, who are the people that need to be, aroused from their sleep, and then they preach Krishna consciousness. Then it is mentioned that the neophyte and intermediate devotees can gradually rise to the platform of Uttam Adhikari, and they can also become first class devotees. Then this reference from Srimad Bhagavatam is given 11 to 45. Actually, there are other shlokas following this also, where the symptoms are given. And in this shloka, it is mentioned that the most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And consequently, he sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything that exists is eternally situated within the Lord. So they don't see anything different from Krishna. They see that Krishna is everywhere, everything is eternally existing within the Lord, everything can be used within the Lord's service, everyone can be brought to the platform of the service of Lord Krishna. Then another reference that from Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya is speaking to Sanatan Goswami, he says that one who is expert in the Vedic literature and has full faith in the Supreme Lord is an Uttamadhikari, a first-class Vaishnav, a topmost Vaishnav who can deliver the whole world and turn everyone to Krishna consciousness. So they are so compassionate and their heart is so full of love that love is just spilling out, and they just want to make the whole world Krishna conscious. With great love and affection, the Mahabhagavata observes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, devotional service, and the devotee. He observes nothing beyond Krishna, Krishna consciousness, and Krishna's devotees. So, like for Prabhupada also, devotees have mentioned that they were with Prabhupada, some of them were fortunate enough to be with Prabhupada all throughout the day. And not for a single moment would they see Prabhupada talk of anything else or Prabhupada's consciousness going anywhere else apart from Krishna. That is how a Mahabhagavat is. That is how an Uttam Adhikari is. The Mahabhagavat knows that everyone is engaged in the Lord's service in different ways. He therefore descends to the middle platform to elevate everyone to the Krishna conscious position. Okay, so he knows that everyone can be engaged in Krishna's service in different ways, and they engage everyone in the Lord's service. And whatever they see, it's not like the Uttam Adhikaris, they are living in a secluded place, they don't have any interaction with people in the material world. It's not like that. They are preaching amongst people of this world. But anything that is material in this world does not touch them. Their consciousness is completely unadulterated. And when they see things of this world also, they are able to relate it to Krishna consciousness. For example, once the Prabhupada was in a plane, and at that time, though the international flights did not have those individual kind of screens, there used to be one common big screen between seats. So, movies would be playing, and it was nobody could just avoid seeing that because it was right in front of everyone's eyes. So once a movie of Charlie Chaplin was playing, and it was humorous. Everyone was laughing and all that. And Prabhupada was laughing. And then he told his servant that, see, the humor of this material world can be, can make people laugh so much. So just imagine how wonderful is the humor of the spiritual world. There is so much humor in the spiritual world also. And that then he narrated a story of Krishna and a devotee of a gopi, and she was slightly, not very pretty looking apparently, and then how Krishna was joking with her that he was going to marry her, and she was also laughing, Krishna was also laughing. So see, something mundane, something materialistic, they see that and they get reminded of the spiritual world too. So for an Uttam Adhikari, there is no difference. There is no cessation of the thoughts of Krishna. They are constantly thinking of Krishna, and with a heart full of compassion, they want to preach this message all over the world. Now, just to summarize the symptoms of a pure devotee. His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu has put this in point form. So I'll just read that out. What are the symptoms of a Mahabhagavat and Uttam Adhikari? The first is inspiration. He inspires an observer. An observer immediately remembers the holy name of Krishna upon seeing an Uttam Adhikari. Then enlightened. He is always aware of his Krishna conscious duty and is enlightened in self-realization. The third is that love. He is always in love with Krishna without adulteration. Fourth is divine vision. Krishna consciousness is the basis of knowledge and action, and he sees everything as being connected with Krishna. So he has that divine vision. Fourth, he chants perfectly. He's able to chant the holy name perfectly. For them, it's not like about completing 16 rounds and then we are done for the day. It's not like that. They just cannot stop chanting. So they fit chanting in between their sevas everywhere. Then 6, preaches widely. They have transcendental eyes to see who is sleeping under the spell of Maya, and they awaken such people. Then 7th is elevate. They elevate a neophyte and an intermediate devotee. 8th is scholar. They are expert in Vedic literatures and that knowledge. 9, faithful. They have full faith in Krishna, relentless, uninterrupted faith in Lord Krishna. 10, observes. They observe nothing beyond Krishna. With love and affection, they see everything connected with Krishna, and they see that everything can be used in the Lord's service. So that's what Prabhupada did also, right? Whether it was flying in airplanes, whether it was using a dictaphone or a microphone or traveling in big cars, he was utilizing everything in Krishna's service. So it was not like he was seeing any distinction. He was able to see Krishna everywhere and he was able to use everything in Krishna's service. Okay. Now let's go to the 75th shloka. Sudha Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Correct.
Krama kari kahe Prabhu Vaishnava Lakshana Vaishnava Tara Hara Vaishnava Tara Krama. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the distinctions between different types of Vaishnavas, the Vaishnavatara, and Vaishnavatama. He thus successively explained all the symptoms of a Vaishnava to the inhabitants of Pulina Grama. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So the distinctions between a Vaishnava, Vaishnavatara, and Vaishnavatama. So the neophyte devotee, the Madhyamadikari and Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttamadikari, the Lord explained their symptoms to the inhabitants of Pulinaga. Okay. So now we go to the next. Purna Devi Mataji, want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danda Pranam Mataji. Vi Mata Sabha Vaishnava Gaude Chalila Vidyanidhi Shei Vastra Niladri Rahila. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Finally, all the Vaishnavas returned to Bengal, but that year Pundarika Vidyanidhi remained at Jagannath Puri. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. So now this next section involving Pundarik Vidyanidhi is going to start. This is a very beautiful and slightly humorous pastime of Lord Jagannath with Pundarik Vidyanidhi. But this pastime is filled with a lot of lessons for all of us. So let's read the upcoming shlokas and then we'll discuss what are the lessons for us to take from this pastime. Yeah, Padmaja Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Swarupa Sahita Tanra Hai Sakya Priti Dui Janya Krishna Kathaya Ekatara Sthiti. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Swarupa Damodar Goswami and Pundarika Vidyanidhi had a friendly, intimate relationship, and as far as discussing topics about Krishna, they were situated on the same platform. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Krishna.
Thank you. So why did Pundarik Vidyanidhi not leave? He stayed back because he had a wonderful, loving, intimate friendship with Swarup Damodar, and so he wanted to spend more time with him. And their friendship, what was it based on? It was based on discussions of topics of Lord Krishna, hearing Krishna Katha, talking about the Lord. So they were situated on the same platform. So there is this reason why he stayed back, because he wanted to associate with his friend. So this is Sajatiya devotee, Sajatiya devotee means there will be some, Vaishnavas in our life with whom we can share this kind of friendship, with whom we can have similar interests. Like, some devotees, they will have a lot of inclination towards kirtan. So they can that can be the basis of their friendship, that they like coming together and singing kirtan, learning new kirtans, teaching each other, and in this way they are engaging in the Lord's service. There can be some devotees who like preaching. There can be some devotees who are very good at book distribution together, and then some devotees who love to hear Krishna Katha. So in this way we are really encouraged to cultivate friendship with devotees, and then we have to respect all the devotees, but then there will be some with whom we'll share some very personal, and very special kind of a relationship, because we are Sajatiya, there will be some aspect of Krishna consciousness that will attract both of us. So then that will make our relationship stronger, and that will help both the devotees advance towards the Lord, advance in their spiritual life. So that is very, very important to have in our spiritual life. And here Sarup Damodar Goswami and Pundarik Vidyanidhi, it is mentioned that they had a friendly, intimate relationship. And as far as discussing topics about Krishna, they were situated on the same platform. So these are very, very advanced Vaishnavas, and they have Preeti Lakshanam. They have intimate love towards each other. And they both are, they want to spend time together discussing topic of Lord Krishna. Okay. Now let's read the 78th verse. Sudha Mataji, please read. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण गदाधर पंडित पे हो पुनः मंत्र दिला ओढ़ा न सस्ती पीरा दिले यात्रा यही देखिला ट्रांसलेशन बाय श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय Pundarika Vidyanidhi initiated Gadadhara Pandita for the second time, and on the day of Odana Shashtrasti, Pundarika Vidyanidhi saw the festival. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Sarojini Mataji, you want to read the purport?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yes, ma'am. Purport. At the beginning of winter, there is a ceremony known as the Odana Sasti. This ceremony indicates that from that day forward, a winter covering should be given to Lord Jagannath. That covering is directly purchased from a weaver. According to the Archana Marga, a cloth should first be washed to remove all the starch, and then it can be used to cover the Lord. Pundarika Vidyanidhi saw that the priest neglected to wash the cloth before covering Lord Jagannath. Since he wanted to find some fault in devotees, he became indignant.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. So,
Thank you, Mataji.
So Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he's the guru. He initiates the Dadar Pandit. And then this festival comes, the ceremony of Odan Shashti comes. In Odan Shashti, it is the beginning of winter. So this marks the beginning of winter. So a cloth covering is given to Lord Jagannath, which is purchased from a weaver. But this cloth has starch. So any cloth that has starch on it should first be washed before offering to the Lord. But in this case, the panda, the pujari, he did not wash the cloth, and it was offered to Lord Jagannath. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw this, that he has offered the cloth without removing the starch before, without removing the without washing the cloth, without removing the starch. It has been offered to Lord Jagannath. So he observed this, and he observed this fault in the pandas, in the devotees. Now devotees explain that when we are having darshan of the deities, we may also feel some things. Sometimes we may feel that, the dress is very beautiful. Oh, the decoration of the deities, their ornaments and all are very nice. Sometimes we may also feel, like, oh, something is missing, or this has not been put correctly, or this combination does not look so nice. We may have some thoughts in our mind may come. But what is to be done in such a case? And that is what we are learning in this particular pastime. In Vaishnav philosophy, in our Vaishnav life, there are some fine duties. Not everything can be explained at the same time. When a person comes to Krishna consciousness, yeah, they are told to a chant, then the 4 regulative principles are told, and then about reading and about Vaishnava Prad. All these things are explained, the offenses, all these things are explained. But then there are some fine mannerisms which not everyone may have. Not everyone may be very fine tuned in that. For example, while doing parikrama of Tulsi Maharani, we may see that someone is probably touching the plant, or they are going beyond the devotees when the water has to be put. They may be breaking the line and going forward. Or in other such things, we may see that someone is being inattentive and we may not like it. So for, just to take this example of someone breaking the line to go and offer water to Tulsi Maharani. Now, we can react in two ways. The first reaction could be that we start chastising that person, that, oh, what are you doing? Don't you know that the other Vaishnavas are waiting in the line? So how can you just break the line and go forward? That can be one reaction. But that is not the correct reaction, because this can really offend that other person. He may take it in a very negative way, and it may also not be liked by the others who are present there. So then the other way, what is the other way? Because this person needs to be taught Vaishnava etiquette, right? For their own benefit. So how do we do that? We can do that by observing this and giving this feedback to their senior, to their superior, who can then explain it to them that, oh, Prabhu or Mataji, be careful from next time. Don't break the line, or something like that. While standing for prasad, please don't break the line. Or, while serving prasad, sometimes what happens is that the serving spoon, sometimes we touch it with the plate, which we should not. So we may, if we see someone doing that, we can just tell this to their superior, and then they can guide this devotee that, oh, this was a little inappropriate, so you can just take care of this in future. Now, this second method, the feedback will reach the devotee a little later. There will be a time gap, but then this is the Vaishnava etiquette. This is how we should do it. Not start, shouting or, just blasting them right in front of everyone right there. We should not do that. A guru may do that, but guru's position is very different. When an Uttam Adhikari corrects someone, they are doing it without any malice, they are doing it without any negative, and they are doing it just for the upliftment of that disciple. But that is a very different relationship. Guru and disciple relationship is very different. If a guru chastises, that's very, very different. But for others, if we are observing someone making some mistakes, first of all, we should not have this fault finding mentality in general. We should not be, with those aspects where we are always trying to say, oh, now this person made a mistake, now this person made a mistake. And that may feel, that may make me feel better about myself, that, oh, I didn't make such a mistake. So this is a very wrong thing to do. But sometimes if we just did observe something that can be taught to the devotee, then we should do it through their superiors. That is Vaishnava etiquette. That is what we should be very, very careful about. Okay. So here, let's go ahead and read this pastime and discuss few more lessons. Okay. So 79th verse. Uma Mataji, please read. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji. जगन्नाथ परे न तथा मडुया वासना देखिया सघ्राण हैला विद्यानिधि रामना. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. When Pundarika Vidyanidhi saw that Lord Jagannatha was given a starched garment, he became a little hateful. In this way, his mind was polluted.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
So this translation itself, it means that polluted. Seeing this being hateful or seeing this negativity, it's polluting the mind. So it is something we should be very, very cautious about. And we should not think that, okay, when I'm in the association of devotees, I will not find faults. Other places, let me find faults. No, see, the problem is that if in general we have this fault finding tendency in our other relationships also, in our other interactions also, then that behavior may spill out when we are in the association of devotees. That's why, as we are trying to advance on the path of Krishna consciousness, we should try not to have two separate lives. That, okay, when I come to the temple, I am one person, and when I'm outside the temple, I am a different person. Our two lives should, gradually merge. We should be in this consciousness where we don't want to see faults everywhere. Now, there may be some relationships in our life, for example, with our children, where we are supposed to correct them. That is our duty. So that is different. But in general, where people we don't even know, or people we don't have any authority over, and we always finding faults in them, then there is a very good chance that in the association of devotees also, that same behavior will get spilled out. We'll start behaving in the same way. So we should really work on ourselves, that whatever I want in my spiritual, behavior, I should try to have that as my normal behavior, and not put a face when I go to the temple and then remove that mask when I'm outside. Yes, there will be certain different way when we are interacting with other people in our life, but in general, our tendencies, we should try to streamline this. We should try to have one kind of thinking, where we are kind to everyone, where we are not trying to find faults in everyone, where we are compassionate to everyone, where we speak softly to everyone, not just with devotees. So this will greatly help us in our spiritual life, and help us prevent a lot of Vaishnava aparadhs also. So this lesson is very important to take. Okay. So that's why it is mentioned here that his mind was polluted when he felt a little hateful, seeing that the starched garment was given to Lord Jagannath. Okay, now let's read verse 80. Dr. K. Karpavagavalli Mataji, you want to read, Mataji?
Krishna Tadatma Mataji.
Pranam.
Zairatre Jagannatha Bale Asiyam Tuyi Bai Chadana Tandre Asiyam. Translation by Prabhupada Ki. That night, the brothers Lord Jagannatha and Balarama came to Pundarika Vidyanidhi and smiling began to slap him. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So visualizing this pastime itself, Lord Jagannath is with his hands, and Balramji, and coming and slapping Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So this is the kind of reciprocation the Lord can have with his very, very intimate devotees. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi, as you know, is the Rishabhanu Maharaj. So when Lord Chaitanya saw him, he was calling him father, father, because Lord Chaitanya is in the mood of Radharani. So Vrishabhanuji is her father. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi is, is a very, very great devotee. And so the Lord is having this pastime with his very, very intimate devotee. So we'll understand this pastime a little more with the upcoming verses. So 81st, Shobha Mataji, 81st
Hare
verse.
Krishna Dandavana Mataji, 81. Ghala Pulila Acharya Antare Ullasa Vistari Varniya Chena Vrindavana Dasa. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Although his cheeks were swollen from the slapping, Pundarika Vidyanidhi was very happy with him. This incident has been elaborately described by Thakura Vrindavana Dasa. Hare Krishna Dandatana Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, which is that wonderful book written by Vrindavan Das Thakur?
Chaitanya Bhagavata.
Yes, yes, Mataji. It is Chaitanya Bhagavat. Very, very beautiful book. So that is why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is not elaborating that pastime here, because it is elaborately described in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he does give this reference that it is described there elaborately. So we'll just quickly, hear what that pastime, what actually happened. So Pundarik Vidyanidhi, when he saw that this starched garment has been put on Lord Jagannath, as we read in the previous verses, he felt disturbed. He did not like it. So he told that to his friend, who Sarup Damodar Goswami. But Sarup Damodar Goswami did not. I did not elaborate much on that. He did not discuss it too much. He just didn't want this discussion to go on. So he just heard it, but he did not spend too much talking about it. Now, Lord Jagannath and Balramji then came at night and they were slapping Pundarik Vidyanidhi, because these pandas, the pujaris in Jagannath Puri, they are very dear to Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath's worship, if you see, is not according to very strict Pancharatrika Vidhi. It's not like that. There are some things which we may see that are not according to the very other, very strict standards. So, but Lord Jagannath is very happy with that. He is very, very happy with the devotion and the intimate loving exchange the pandas have with him. So that is why Lord Jagannath did not like that these pandas are being, some fault is being seen in the way the pandas behaved. So he is, that is why this loving punishment to Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Now, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, as we said, that he is Rishabhanu Maharaj, very, very elevated personality, Radharani's father. So Lord uses him as a nimitta. It's not that he actually makes a mistake. No, his position we cannot even imagine. But Lord uses his very, very close associates as a nimitta to give a lesson to everyone. Like he used Arjuna as a nimitta, right? In the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And where Arjuna says that I am in illusion, and he does this part of a living entity in illusion. So the Bhagavad Gita is spoken for the benefit of everyone. In the same way, in this case, Pundarik Vidyanidhi is being used as a medium, as a nimitta by the Lord to teach everyone that the Lord does not like his devotees being criticized, faults being seen in his devotees. So the lesson for us here is we should never, never, never offend Vaishnavas. This is one thing in our spiritual life we should be very careful about. So this is called as the mad elephant, a disease where a mad elephant goes and destroys the whole crop. This one, one offense towards Vaishnavas can destroy whatever little devotion we may have. And so that is why we always caution that we should be very, very careful in our dealings with Vaishnavas. And the Lord himself is teaching us through this pastime that he does not like anyone offending his devotees. So the change that we should bring about in our behavior, in our attitude, is that we should not be eager to see faults in others, but we should be eager to overlook faults. Sometimes small things we should be able to overlook. And the Lord, the other lesson is that the Lord is bhavagrahi. He sees the essence. He sees what is there in our heart. What is the emotion? What is the bhav that we are carrying? So this starched cloth also, starched cloth is very, very stiff, right? But the Lord is accepting, he's willing to accept this starched cloth also, but he's not willing to see his pandas being blamed. So that is how wonderful the Lord's relationship with his devotees is. He's okay to take that inconvenience of the starched cloth, but he does not want to see any kind of criticism happening for his devotees. So that is how loving the Lord is. So through this Leela, this pastime between Lord Jagannath and Pundarik Vidyanidhi, we learn the importance of refraining from finding faults in others. This fault finding mentality is actually very, very polluting for us. So we should stay away from that. And we also learn how Lord Jagannath, how Lord Krishna is bhavagrahi. He's so loving towards his devotees that he's willing to overlook, these small mistakes that may be happening. Okay. Now let's read verse 82. Yes, Padma Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. He mata pratyapai se gaudera bhakta gana Prabhu sange rahi kare yatra darshana. Translated by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Every year, the devotees of Bengal would come and stay with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the Ratha Yatra festival. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So these fortunate devotees from Bengal, they would come every year, and they would, they would come to see the Rath Yatra festival, and they would stay with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in the previous verse,
Yes,
when they say
Mataji.
the night the brothers of Lord Jagannath and Balaram, who are the brothers, Mataji?
Sorry, Mataji, which verse?
Text 80.
81.
That night the brothers Lord Jagannath and Balaram
Yes.
came
Yeah,
to
Mataji.
Pundrika.
Yeah, so Jagannath ji and Baldev ji. They
Achha,
came.
they are both. Okay.
They came, and that
Yeah,
incident.
I understood, Mataji.
Yeah, so we are on 83, right? Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji, you want me to read?
Yes, Mataji, please.
तारे मध्ये ये वर्षे अचा ये विशेषा विस्तारीय आगे ताहा कही बामी निशेषा Prabhupada ki jai. Whatever happened during those years, that's worth noting, shall be described later.
Hare Krishna.
That is
Yeah,
worth
so-
noting, shall be described later. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, that is worth noting, shall be described later. So those descriptions are going to come later. Okay, so next verse. Yeah. Padma Mataji.
I just did two,
Oh,
Mataji.
you just read. Okay, sorry, your hand was raised. Sudha Mataji, please read.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत यही मत महाप्रभुर चारि वत्सर केला दक्षिण यह आसीते दोई वत्सर लागीला. Translation by Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed 4 years. He spent the first 2 years on his tour in South India. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So Lord Chaitanya, he had the tour of South India that took 2 years, and then he was in Jagannath Puri. And as we have read that he wanted to go to Vrindavan, but the devotees would make some excuse or the other, and they would keep stopping him. So for 2 years, he has not been able to go from Jagannath. Yes, 85. Padmaja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Aradoi vastra chahe Vrindavana aite Ramananda hate Prabhu na pare chalite. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The other 2 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, but he could not leave Jagannath Puri because of Ramananda Raya's tricks. Haribol Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So devotees, they never want we to be separated from the Lord. So they would always make excuses that, okay, now this festival is coming, why don't you stay for this one, then the next one, then, oh, now it is raining, how will you go now? Or, okay, now now the Vijayadashmi is coming, now then Diwali is coming, and then after that, oh, it's very, very cold now, so just pass these winter months here and then you travel. So in this way, they were making one excuse or the other, and that is mentioned as the tricks here. And they would say these things and keep Lord Chaitanya with them because they didn't want separation from the Lord. Their love was so deep. Okay. 86. Gandharvika Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, that was.
Dhanvati.
Panchami was, Mataji, just a moment. पंचमा वत्सरे गौरेरा भक्त गण आयला रथ देखी न राहिला गौडेरे चालीला. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. During the 5th year, the devotees from Bengal came to see the Rath Yatra festival. After seeing it, they did not stay but returned to Bengal. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So this particular year, the 5th year, they came for Rath Yatra festival, and after that they returned to Bengal. Okay. 87. Dr. K. Karpagavalli Mataji, please.
Mataji, Dandatnam. Ape Prabhu Sarvabhauma Ramananda Stane Alingana Kari Kahi Madhura Vachani. Prabhupada, translation by Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed a proposal before Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Raya. He embraced them and spoke sweet words. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So now Lord Chaitanya really wants to go to Vrindavan. So before Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, he is going to place a proposal. He embraces them and then he speaks the following. Padmaja Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Bahuta utkanta mora yeite vrindavana tomara hate dui vastra nakulina gamana. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my desire to go to Vrindavana has very much increased. Because of your tricks, I have not been able to go there for the past 2 years. Thank you, Mataji. Haripur.
Thank you, Mataji. So for 2 years, they were making some excuse or the other and keeping the Lord there. And now he's saying that my desire has now really greatly increased. So because of your tricks, I have not been able to go for 2 years. And then he speaks the following words. Gandharvika Mataji, please read. Gandharvika Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, phone was hanged. Sorry.
No problem.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
अवश्य चली बाधुने करह सम्मति तोमा दुहा विना मोरा नाही अन्य गति. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This time I must go. Will you please give me permission? Save for you too, I have no other resort. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji. So the Lord is, literally like he's begging for permission. So he's teaching us how much dependence we should also have on Vaishnavas. And, we should not have this independent kind of mentality. He being the Lord, he is, all independent, but he's showing through his example how dependent we should be on Vaishnavas and how we should also seek permission from our, we should seek permission from our superiors. And the Lord is the most superior of all, but even he is asking for permission from devotees. So we should also have this kind of attitude where we are dependent upon Vaishnavas. Okay. Yeah. 90th. Padmaja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Gauda deshe hai mura dui samasraya janani jahnavi dui daya maya. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. In Bengal, I have 2 shelters, my mother and the river Ganges. Both of them very merciful. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So Sachi Mother is there. Sachi Mata is there in Bengal, and in the river Ganges, Lord Chaitanya would jump and have his a wonderful pastime. So he's saying that I have 2 shelters, my mother and the river Ganga, and both of them are very merciful. Okay, so we'll read 2 more shlokas. Yeah, Meenakshi Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams.
Pranam.
Gauda desha diya yaba tana sabha dekhiya tumi dunhe agnya deha parasana hana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I go to Vrindavan through Bengal and see both my mother and the river Ganges. Now, would you two be pleased to give me permission? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya says that I'll first go to Bengal, and from through Bengal I'll go to Vrindavan. So I'll be able to see river Ganga also and my mother also. So then he's saying, now would you two give me, be pleased to give me your permission. We'll read 92. Yeah, and we'll stop for today. Dr. K. Karpagavalli Mataji. Just
Thank you.
92. We'll
Thank you,
stop.
Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Dunya Prabhu Ravani Mane Vicharaya Prabhu Sane Ati Hata Kabu Balanaya. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Raya heard these words, they began to consider that it was not at all good and they had played so many tricks on the Lord. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Mataji. So they are in love with the Lord, right? They have so much love for the Lord, and seeing the Lord, say these words. So now they feel that, oh, we have played so many tricks on the Lord, and we kept the Lord here for a long time. So it was not at all good that we played so many tricks on the Lord. Okay, so 3 o'clock. So we stop here now. So today, through the pastime of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, we learned the very important lesson that we should not be, we should not have this fault finding mentality. If there is some feedback that we want to be given to some devotee, then we should try to route that through their superior. That is the correct Vaishnava etiquette. And the Lord is Bhavagrahi. He was ready to accept that starched garment also. And the same thing we see in Shabri Ji's case also, right? Lord Ram it didn't matter to Lord Ram that those berries were eaten by Shabri because he's Bhavagrahi. He's seeing her love. And we also read the symptoms of a Uttam Adhikari. Okay, so those were the points that we discussed today, and we can, we can take these learnings that how Vaishnav etiquette is so very important, and how careful we should be about not committing any kind of Vaishnav aprad, and try to bring this, bring this, quality or a nature within ourselves where we are not trying to find faults, but rather trying to see good in others. That will really help us immensely in our spiritual life. Okay, so we'll stop at that. Any questions or any comments?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I had 2 questions, but I think they are silly, Mataji, but then I think I'll ask. Like I said, Mataji, if we want to tell out the some defects which we found in the devotees, then we route it through the seniors. But Mataji, in temples where there is a large crowd and we are not very often going to the temple or anything of that sort, we wouldn't be able to identify who's that devotee's guru or so on. One. And suppose the devotee is a very neophyte devotee, Mataji, then is it not okay to tell them politely, calling them aside after they have done what they have done? How do we approach that situation?
Yeah, Mataji, sometimes it may happen that, we have to act on the spot, right? As you said. So that time, yeah, we can politely tell them, we can call them aside, like you said, not in front of everyone because they may feel very offended. So we can, but Mataji, this should be done if we are in a position of authority, right? Or if they're, like you said, that we don't know who that person's superior. So whoever is the authority in the temple, we can we can approach them and say that, Prabhu or Mataji, we observed such and such thing. Is it right? Am I thinking correctly? And then, we can direct it through them. So even though we don't know who that devotee's superior is, we can direct it through superiors in the temple or in the congregation in general. And sometimes it may be if that person is doing something which is really wrong, we may have to go and stop them. For example, if someone is banging against Tulsi Maharani, we have to stop them. Politely, we can tell them. But in general, our tendency should be that it should be rooted through superiors, if not their superior, but then at least superiors or devotees responsible in the temple, we can approach through them.
Okay, Mataji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I had a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, you're just explaining that we should not do Vaishnava Aparada, follow the Vaishnava etiquette. Somehow, I think yesterday I did one of the Aparada, kind of offending. So how should I kind of come out of it, or how best can I make it better, Mataji? In the sense, I was speaking to another devotee in the group, and I think she got a little offended, which I shouldn't have done. I realized later. Later, I personally messaged saying, I'm really sorry, but the damage was already done, Mataji. So, I'm feeling really bad. And today you took the chapter of this one, and I'm like, oh my God, I did commit a mistake. And I'm feeling bad about it, Mataji. So, can you please guide me?
We should, like you said, we should beg for forgiveness. That is what we should do when some mistake has happened. It has happened in my life also, though we should we should be very forthcoming, accept our fault and beg for forgiveness, Mataji. That is what we should do. Beg for forgiveness from that devotee and from the Lord also. That's what we should do.
Okay,
So,
Mataji.
yes, Mataji. So please don't worry. We are all learning on this path, and we will make mistakes, but we should not cover up our mistakes. That's the best thing. And the best thing is you are realizing it yourself. We should realize, we should beg for forgiveness from the devotee and from the Lord. And devotees are very merciful, Mataji. So they will definitely forgive.
I hope the Lord also forgives me, Mataji. I mean, it's not a big mistake, but since, it's not good to offend anybody is what I learned from today's class. So not
Yes,
even make
Mataji.
them feel bad.
When the devotee forgives, the Lord will forgive, Mataji.
If the devotee doesn't forgive, Mataji.
No, they will forgive, Mataji. Devotees are very merciful. Please don't worry. Please don't
Thank
worry.
you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Actually, Her Grace Nitai Sevni Mataji said something in a lecture. She said that, we may have made mistakes of so many devotees which we do not even remember now, right? It may just have happened. So she said that's why every day we should say Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patita Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anant Koti Vaishnavrin ki Jai. She said that we should bow down saying this, and in front of the Lord we should beg for forgiveness for all those mistakes which we have done, which we don't even remember and which didn't even realize. So that this is something, I'll also try to bring this in my daily routine, and beg for forgiveness from all the devotees for offenses I may have done. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you so much for your attentive hearing. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Anant Koti Vaishnavin ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji, for the wonderful
Thank you,
class.
Very much,
Mataji.
Mataji.
All glory Krishna.
Shall I end the
Hare
session,
Krishna,
Mataji, with your
Yes,
Mataji.
permission?
Mataji, please then.
Hare
Yeah.
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you.